So I just got back, and a little bit of background on this story is I've been calling the seller for a long time. This is someone I found on my own. Um, just through, I guess, I wouldn't say it was marketing, but it was more just myself, almost like virtual driving for dollars. So I had found him. I talked to this guy, Robert, multiple times last year, multiple times. Well, I guess it was just last year. So essentially, what had happened is he went off the charts, and I couldn't get a hold of him. And he was supposed to be sending me stuff, and he was talking about, I think I figured out a way, that we'd both be happy in this transaction. And we were kind of talking about sub two, and then we also were talking about just a cash price. And he was kind of more on the cash price side, which something that I didn't know, which I guess is another thing for us to do is, dig a little bit deeper into what they're talking about, because it turns out that this guy had a lot of health issues. So I'm sad to say it, but he had passed away last November, and I didn't know this because he wasn't answering the phone. He wasn't reaching back out to me. Even before he had passed away, when he was in the hospital, I wasn't hearing from him. He never told me he was sick, so I didn't know what was going on. I just assumed, he's not interested anymore. So I moved him to a drip campaign. And I've been just slowly following up with him, or the number I had at least. And I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but somehow his daughter has his phone, or his daughter took over his cell phone number. So I guess where we're at now is his daughter reached out to me via text just a week or two ago and said that he died in last November, and her and her sister are still interested in selling the property. So essentially what I'm doing now is I'm about to call her, because we set up a time earlier, but something else ran late. So, we got to do it now. So I'm going to talk to her, and her husband actually had emailed me some photos of the house, and they're not anything like what I thought, it would look like, or what Robert was telling me. He was the actual homeowner, her dad. Kind of conflicting stories. So it's not, he made it seem like it was all ready to go and everything. And I see the photos, and there's holes in the wall, and there's a whole bunch of crap going on. So right now, this is we have talked just a little bit through text. So I'm going based off of what Robert had told me, a year ago, like last summer, last fall. So I'm going to be going off of kind of what he told me, and then just some of the little bits and pieces that she has told me just in the past week through text. And then also, what I've seen in the photos. So I'm going to give her a call and just kind of see, I guess, how things are going with her, and, what she's looking to do. She does want to sell it, but we haven't really got, that far in price. I know what Robert wanted, but, I don't know if she's as savvy as he was, or what the case is, or what they're looking for, what they're even trying to do. I know they want to sell it, but I probably won't bring up terms at all, just because I think a cash price is probably going to be better for this one. It is in Elwood here in Indiana. It's kind of a smaller town, so it's not the biggest market. We've done a couple of things there, and there's also been some JV stuff there, but most of those have been rentals. And this, I guess, the only really good thing about this house that it has going for it is that it's right across the street, or right down, not directly across, but like within a block or two from a hospital. So I don't remember his name. I'm gonna have to go looking for it in the system. But there was another gentleman I spoke with that had he buys in Elwood. He lives there, and him and his wife are both travel nurses, and they buy up real estate, and they pretty much make it like a short-term rental, almost like an Airbnb. But they get contracts from the government or the hospital, or certain groups that have these travel nurses, and they're able to essentially rent these out on a short-term basis to travel nurses or doctors, or ER trauma people. So it is kind of in a good spot for that, but there's also some things that I want to get some more information on. And I guess the whole basis of the call with her today is just to see what she's trying to do, and just talk to her. This is the first time we're ever going to be speaking on the phone, and so just trying to see, I guess, how far we can get. So other than that, I'm going to get this one started, and yeah, be sure to like and subscribe, watch my other live streams, my other videos. I know I've been lacking on the real estate stuff recently, but it's really just my lives I've been doing, and stuff on Instagram, and just getting on other people's streams and stuff like that. So I am going to be picking this back up, but there's been some stuff going on in my professional life with a whole bunch of switches and things going on that I can't really talk about because they're still ongoing. But that's kind of the reason it's been a little bit slow on the real estate side recently. I've been trying to do as much as I can, but it's kind of I got to be wary of what exactly I'm doing. So with no further ado, I'm gonna get this one started and see what she has to say. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you guys do learn anything from this, just be sure to like and subscribe and watch some of my old live streams and kind of see, the journey of everything that we've been doing here. So let's get this one going. Hope you guys can hear this.
Hello.
Hello, it's Samara.
Yes.
Hey, this is Patrick. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just kind of been driving all over the place. I was over in Brownsburg earlier. So that's kind of an area I'm still, I guess I would say I'm new to. We haven't done a whole lot over there, but it's definitely kind of picking up more on the, I guess, the rural side of it, expanding out.
Well, Brownsburg is beautiful over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of bigger plots of land I didn't really know were out there. I've, like I said, I'm not really out in Brownsburg a whole lot, but it was definitely, I guess, an eye opener or something, an area I need to move into a little bit more.
So do you travel everywhere, like all over the state?
Yeah, it's all over Indiana. I mean, for the most part, I live over here by Butler, so we kind of try to stick to this, Metro Indy area. But also another big hub that we deal with is like Muncie, Anderson, and kind of Marion area, Yorktown even. So that's kind of how I come across this one in Elwood, was just looking in that kind of circle. I know for the most part, this kind of, I guess, the upper area of, outside the suburbs is more of a rental market for us. So that's kind of how we look at it. There are some, nice houses out there that can pull a profit if it were to be completely fixed up, but a lot of them, our main focus is kind of looking at it just as a rental, like slowly doing things as people move out, and then potentially doing some type of land contract or some type of deal where a renter can move in there. Because especially, I wouldn't say Elwood too much, but definitely in Anderson and Muncie, there's a lot of people that are, like construction workers or line workers, stuff like that, and they don't have an exact place they're living in, so they want to rent for a little bit, and then they stay in that area. So it kind of works out either way, but that's kind of the route we try to go with some of these ones over in the north side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
base is not a rental.
Yeah.
As you could see by the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't even have words to describe. We just need to find somebody willing to buy it. We know there could be potential, but my sister and I were like, we don't have the money to put into it.
All right. So I guess I wanted to get a little bit more back, because I've never been in the house, and it sounds like you've been in there. I saw some of the photos. But I guess when I was speaking with your father, he made it seem a little bit better than, what I saw in the photos.
Yeah.
So there were some things in the photos, especially, I was kind of wanting to touch on, which the first one being, I saw it looked like there's a hole in the brick. I don't know if that was the basement or not, or if it was in one of those front rooms.
Yes, it is a hole in the basement wall, because there was stairways that you can go down, or a staircase to go down into the basement from the outside. And when they put the bridge in, like back in, I want to say maybe 2011, I could be wrong on that. They were driving the pylon thingies into the ground for the bridge, and it collapsed the wall of the basement. There is some things down there he's put, supports contractor. I couldn't tell you if it's fixable or any of that.
Right. Is the opening was from essentially where they just took the stairs out? So they're like outside. Is there a slope or something where the stairs went down on the side of the house, like a little bit of a, I guess, almost like a trench, kind of?
Not a trench, but the stairs. I mean, I actually walked down the stairs to take the photos that were in the basement.
Okay.
The stairs are still there. Just that the only thing that has fallen in is that surf where it's opened.
Okay.
And then there's a set of stairs that in the basement that goes into the house.
Got it. So the ones that you had walked down were exterior stairs?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're pretty sure they're cement or brick.
All right. And then I guess the other, pretty much the bulk of it just seems like just all around it needs to have some work. I know when I talked to your father, he was saying that he did some of the windows, and even in the photos, I could see that, some of those windows look brand new. I guess when you were in there, I don't know how long ago it was, but when you guys were in there, was there anything else that you could see that, you noticed that he already had started working on or already completed on there? Because it looks like most of it might be exterior stuff and, just common inside cosmetics, I would say.
Yeah, he was doing some stuff on the outside for one to appease the city. Dad was trying to keep the house for sentimental reasons. So most of it was on the outside. He didn't do much on the inside for the last maybe 12 years. He had moved out of it and was living in my grandfather's house like a block away.
All right.
Now we do have inside the original pocket doors, because the house was built, I think, in 1860 something. And so there's 3 original pocket doors they work. There's all the woodwork, the original doors, the doorknobs, and the hardware that someone would use to hang the doors, and some of the molding for the house is all in the garage.
Okay, got it. Yeah, when I was looking at it, it looked like it was on my system here. It looks like it was built in 1890.
Okay.
So at least we got a little bit more time on there just for, I guess, engineering purposes. But yeah, I mean, I see that there's even on the backside, it looks, some of the siding. So I would think, essentially the whole house would have to be redone, especially the roof and the siding around the windows, probably the garage door. Really, I would say the only thing that would probably stand there would be the brick. That's on that little front part of it that I saw. And then I also want to... Okay.
The front porch windows are original. They actually still work. They go out where that brick part is. They actually slide out and open up.
Okay, and is there, when you walk in the front door, is that sectioned off, or is that as you say, a porch, or is there also, does it open into the main area of the house that's behind that that wall there?
It goes into, we called it a 3 seasons porch because there was no heat out there, but we used to have, like patio furniture and stuff like that out there. And then you just walk through the door, and then there's another set of doors, and they're French doors that open up into the living room.
Okay, so it sounds like there's some light coming in over there too. I just didn't know if there was a whole bunch of light that had come in, I guess, to the front side that you walk in past the porch. But it's a decent sized house. So, it's pretty big. I guess compared to some of the older ones that are in Elwood area.
Yeah, it was supposed to have been, because he only, it burnt 48 years ago, and so he was redoing it, and he was a very procrastinator. My sister and I shared the bedroom that had the bed in it. We shared it, and then they had another bedroom. There was a living room, a bathroom, and a kitchen. And then if you go upstairs, there was supposed to be another full bath, 3 bedrooms, and this entertainment room. And then the attic, the ceilings are tall enough that if it was finished, it could be a very usable, more bedrooms, or a great room or something like that. So it's I want to say the roof to the attic floor would probably be another 10 feet.
Okay.
And that's what he was planning on eventually, that was going to be grandkids, great-grandkids play area, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I can see, I'm looking at the photos right now as well, kind of as you're explaining some of the layout. I see I think this is the back side of the house. It looks like there's almost brand new siding, but it's not fully completed. Is there any more, at least that you're aware of, is there any, I guess, material there that he might have bought that he just didn't get around to using yet? Because it looks like there's a piece of the back side that the siding's almost brand new around some of the newer windows.
He was it as he needed to put it up.
All right, got it.
Yeah, he didn't have any siding stockpiled for it.
Okay. And then
there are windows. I don't know what shape they're in. They're in the upstairs that are supposed to be the windows for the house.
Okay. I can see too upstairs essentially it looks like pretty much all of it is almost gutted to just, the 2x4s. I was wondering what was, if even the backstory of all the insulation on the ground. Was that something that they just never picked up, or did the roof cave, or
Yeah, they never he had started putting it up on in between the rooms and the rafters, or the skeleton of it. But he never got any further, and then just with time, it just kind of fell out.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So I guess I appreciate your information on all of this. I guess the background of everything, and then my second main concern would be the city condemning it. So I don't how far along are you guys in that process? And I know you said that you and your sister were trying to prolong it or stop it. I guess how's that going, and what have you heard from them, for the future of it?
When we took he passed last November, and so we started talking to a realtor in January. He found us a buyer, and we signed papers in March, and that fell through, and he strung us for 6 months. In that time,
oh my gosh,
I don't know. We never got notified that there was a meeting about the house or anything. They just condemned it. And then in August, we got the notice 2 days after we finally got the buyer to release us from his contract. We get this notice that the city had condemned the house. And so basically it's from one of the ladies up there that we went to school with, she said it's kind of like their watchdog. They condemned it to make the owners
more weary of it.
Kind of communicate with them and tell them what our plans are and stuff. And so we went up August 21st for a meeting, and we told them what we were trying to do and what we thought, we just don't want to turn it over to them and make it a parking lot. And I said, there's some potential with the yard, with the building. If somebody wants to tear it down and make something smaller, that's fine. We just wanted to see if we could sell it. So they're giving us grace periods as long as we communicate with them. And it's like every 30 days we have to go in and just tell them, hey, we're this far along, we're doing this, we're doing that, and they're fine with it.
Okay. So it seems like Elwood is a little bit more lenient on this type of thing. So I know Elwood also has a lot of older houses as well. Yeah. I don't know if this is in any type of historic area, but I know kind of closer to Anderson, like Yorktown area, and even a little bit west, they try not to, tear them down because they're trying to keep the old, aesthetic of the whole area, and kind of do it that way. But so it sounds like as long as you just check in with them and, keep them updated, they're not really just going to press a button and say, oh, we're going to wake up today and, just take it.
Yeah, because our thing was they had been dealing with my dad for so long about this house, and they never condemned it when he was still alive. And
right.
They could have, but they didn't. And so they weren't real sure how Angie and I what we were going to do. So that was their way of saying, hey, let's get this project under control. What are your thoughts? What are you going to do? And on the board, there was a lawyer, and he was really supportive, and he was like, thank you for traveling, because I live 5 hours away.
Oh, wow. Where do you stay at?
And he was like, just keep us informed. You don't really have to come to the next meeting. Just call the office, tell us what's going on, make sure that we're aware, once a week, give us an update, and we're going to be fine.
Okay. Got it. So, see, yeah, that's yeah, that's good to hear that there's someone, that's on the side and not just, like at least here in Indy, I know they don't really play around with that. And, it's like, I wouldn't say all the time, but 70 to 80% of the time, it's an official date. Something has to happen by this. And they're not so lenient as they are over here, in Elwood, where this place is at.
Yeah. All the formalities, the letter said, you have 30 days to get it tore down, or, you have to pay the city to have it tore down or whatever. But as soon as we got the letter and we contacted them the next business day, they were like, just explaining, saying this is just like a kick in the pants to, just to talk to us.
Yeah.
They knew he had passed, but they didn't see anybody coming and going over there, so they didn't know what all was going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you can't really blame them for, I guess, being curious of what's going to happen. And I know for the most part, their job is to try to keep it looking a certain way and make sure, things with the city are all by certain standards and codes and all that. But
and then one of the neighbors, family had lived there. I mean, it was there before, probably at least 50 years. And the wife finally passed away, and they sold the property. Well, the new owners kind of started complaining about the house and some other neighbors' stuff, and that also was brought up, in the meetings and stuff, was like, your neighbors are complaining, you need to take care of this.
Yeah. I mean, is it like locked up, or as far as has there been people squatting in it or anything like that?
We know some people have been in there off and on, but not squatting. Because if you go in that basement hole, you can get upstairs.
Got it.
My sister and I were talking over the weekend, and I told her, I said, we really need to get that secure. I said, I've been playing around with the idea, and I just kind of finally said, look, if someone goes in there and gets hurt, it's on us. And I said, we kind of just need to get it closed up and boarded up so that nobody can go in and do anything that might start a fire. I don't know.
Yeah, just all the mischief that no one knows what's going to happen, but there's a lot of different routes I could take that's for the worst, I would say.
Yeah, we played all kinds of scenarios in our head. We're like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess with this, is your sister also kind of, another, I guess, the main decision maker on this, or did she leave it to you, or like, should we speak with her, or like, who is the one that's making like the main decision on all this?
For the A Street house, it's me.
Okay. All right.
And we do have all the legal papers already done that gives Angie and I control over the house. Because we didn't get the name changed on the deed or on the deed of the house. It's still in his name, but we have all the legal papers.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know if this was in probate or not, if it was going through, some other estate process.
Nope, it's all free and clear. Well, not free, but
yeah, it's ready to go when you guys find someone, right?
Yeah, it is, and we understand the condition of it. When I went over in January and we were looking at it and working with a realtor and stuff, that was been my first time in that house in 28 years.
Oh, it's been a while then since you were there last.
Yes, so I mean, I knew it was in bad shape. I just didn't go there.
Yeah, I mean, even you living 5 hours away, that's quite a distance. Are you on like the south side of Indy? Like, where do you live at?
I am actually in Illinois. We are.
Oh, Illinois.
Yeah, we're 30 minutes south of Springfield.
Okay.
So about an hour and 20 north of St. Louis.
Okay, yeah, that's almost. Is that close to Naperville? Because I used to have family that lived out in Naperville.
Naperville's up in Chicago.
Oh, so that's a little bit closer to Chicago, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not too familiar with Illinois demographics. Our main area is Indy. I kind of just know the spots I have family in, but
that's okay. Illinois is another little cesspool down here of I don't know.
A lot of stuff going on. I know it's kind of just Midwest area. Just I almost think of it as Indiana and Ohio, just one block over.
Yeah. We live in I call it the money pit house. When we fix something else goes wrong. But we have 2 acres, so I'm not wanting to move anytime soon.
Yeah, 2 acre. That's good land right there. It's pretty big. So,
yeah.
All right. I mean, I guess for me, you guys living 5 hours away, does your sister live closer than that, or is she?
Oh yeah, she lives in town.
Oh, she lives in Elwood?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I was just saying, obviously after this phone call, I'd want to get back with my team and kind of go over what we talked about today with some more updated information.
Okay.
But definitely, I would say I wouldn't want you, like, if I had to go out there, if I bring a contractor with me, I wouldn't want to have you drive 5 hours. So I didn't know if she was a little bit closer. I know you said you're dealing with it, but just to, open it up, or I don't know how you would want that to work. I wouldn't want to just go into the basement because that would look, I mean, unless you give us permission, but I wouldn't just want to, barge in there and start looking around and stuff.
No, but if you let me know when you need to go or when you can be there, depending on myself, but her fiance is available all day or most of the day.
Yeah.
But we can set something up to meet with you at any time.
Okay. All right. And then, so now that we have, most of the, background on the house and kind of what it's looking like, I would assume too that just looking at some of the photos that it's essentially gutted, I would think that, every like electrical, the plumbing and some of that stuff is, I wouldn't really say original, but, not touched in a long time. probably needing to be replaced, and even HVAC in terms of the air and everything. So
because he believed in baseboard heat.
Yeah. Well, that's also common for some of these older places like this.
They used to have a coal furnace.
Ooh, you don't see those anymore. Those are almost antique.
It may still be in the basement. I'm not 100%. But when the house burned, like I said, it was 48 years ago. That's when he did all the wiring and the plumbing and stuff like that. So yeah, it's probably needing to be updated.
So where, if you don't mind me asking, where was this fire at? Was that in the basement, upstairs, or the front?
It started in the stairwell to the upstairs.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just wasn't. I mean, I'm assuming it was all fixed if he was living there, but I just wasn't sure exactly where it was started. Because if it was in the basement, that could have been a lot of damage to a lot of other things, just besides, you know, some of the, I guess, outside walls that house the stairs and kind of some of the bedrooms and stuff up there.
Yeah, it did enough damage that he had to gut it all the way.
Okay, perfect. So I guess my next thing I'd want to kind of touch on a little bit is, I know what your father was looking for in terms of price, but do you guys have anything in mind of, you know, what you're expecting to get, or I guess what you guys are expecting out of the whole deal?
Because when we talked before it got condemned, the realtor said that she could possibly get $25,000 out of it, and I know it's not worth that. But Angie and I were talking over the weekend,
yes,
and we'd like to start off with 10.
This is good, guys. This is really good.
And then have you guys come in and look and see what your thoughts are, because several people have offered, and then they go in and they're like, no, this is a little more work than what we're wanting.
Yeah, it's definitely a project, and kind of for us, I mean, you know, I don't know about other companies or who else you guys have talked to, or really anyone else out there, but I know for us, we kind of look at it in multiple different angles, I would say. So like I said in the beginning, is our main focus would probably be to try to fix it and then rent it. Or our second angle would just be, you know, just completely fixing it and reselling it. But also, if we look at it for a rental, it could pull a little bit more money, just because we're looking at it, how much money is it actually going to generate after we do all these fixes. And for the most part, I mean, you know, fixing it up to a rental standard is not even near what it would be if we were to completely fix it up and resell it on, you know, the open market with our realtors. So
yeah,
it's kind of, you know, just looking at it and kind of evaluating and see what would be the best financial decision, at least from our standpoint of, you know, maybe fix it to a certain standard, rent it for a couple of years, and then, you know, let someone live there, have a nice place to call home. And then at the end of the day, whenever they want to move out, you know, we can come in and do kind of a more in-depth fix up. And then at that point we could sell it. So that's another route we kind of take sometimes, is fixing it up just enough where it's, you know, livable and it's safe. And then having someone live there and kind of get the feel of how they like it and all that type of stuff. And then after that, go in there and do some more extensive work and I guess get it ready to sell on the open market. Because kind of with realtors, I was surprised that you got, when you said that you guys went that way, because for the most part, the clients and the people that realtors bring in, like you said, they do a lot of inspections, and those inspection guys are pretty in depth and they look at like everything. So there could be some things that came up, I guess, that to the human eye, most people won't notice unless you're trained to look for certain things.
Yeah, this realtor said it was being listed as an estate and as is. And so she was like, that's one way of getting around having to fix things to get it to pass an inspection and that sort of stuff, is list it as is, and then people know this is what you get.
Yeah. Did you guys get a copy of that inspection report?
No, we never actually got to that part.
Got it. All right, I was gonna say that could be really helpful and save a lot of time off if we were able to look at that. But if you don't have it, there's no worries. Because really, for us, we don't really do inspections, that are that in depth, and we're looking at everything because most of those people are looking for an actual house to live in, even if it is, a kind of a fixer upper. So we normally just look at it is an inspection, but it's more of like what is it going to take and getting quotes to be able to fix this. So it's not like, oh, the plumbing's completely shot, we're gonna, back out because of that. It's more of looking and getting quotes of how much it's going to take to fix it. So it is an inspection, but it's a little bit of a different angle of that, and we're not, exactly looking for something that's going to make us back out of it. Which, for the most part, we won't even enter into a contract unless it's something that we're pretty confident about.
Okay, I would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear because I know working with an agent and then working with someone like myself or anyone else, I mean, we're kind of in the same industry, but there's two different views that we take. A realtor is really only looking for, someone that's going to buy it and they know about kind of what they think the buyer would be. But at the same time, for us, I mean, this is like what we do on a daily basis. So we're in there just looking to see what is it going to take to fix this. And like I said, if it was a rental, how much, would we have to spend to get X amount of money to make it worth our while?
Yep.
So I guess I just wanted to clarify that before anything. But I would say from here, I'm going to speak with my team. And I've been taking notes this whole time. So I'll share with them some of these notes and go over a couple of things with them. And then I can call, what is today? Tuesday. I could call you possibly Friday, sometime in the afternoon, and then we can kind of discuss, what we went over. And then at that point, I think we'd be ready to make an offer on it.
Okay. That sounds good. And like I said, when you guys want to do a walkthrough, let me know, and I will get somebody there to let you in and be there and can answer questions.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so it looks, for the most part, something we're definitely still interested in. We're going to be doing a kind of more in-depth look at it, kind of off of what you said and looking at some more records and stuff. And then, like I said, on Friday, we should be pretty ready to go, and we can, shoot you an offer then, and I guess just rendezvous then.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time, and I can shoot you a text here in a couple of days, and then we can, just set up a time for Friday.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, perfect. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.
You too. Don't stay too busy.
Oh, why? I can't promise that. I don't go to sleep till the phone stops ringing.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and look forward to hearing from you.
All right, no problem. Have a good one.
You too.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye. Let's go. All right, guys. So there's a lot to unpack there. So she seems like she knows enough about the house. I wouldn't really say the state that it's in, but she knows a decent amount about the history of the house, what her dad did. She even said she grew up in the house. She lived there with her sister. Her sister still lives there. So, there's a lot of things I would say I gained in kind of area knowledge from her, just on, some of the stuff that she kind of mentioned. And also having her sister currently living in that town, I think is also something. At some point I'm going to probably text her, on Thursday or whenever, Friday morning, whenever we set up this call for Friday or Saturday afternoon. I'm going to want to talk to the sister, or even if I can't speak with her on the phone, at least meet her in person. If she's the one to meet me there, like she said, get a little bit more knowledge from her because she lives there. So she knows more of the demographic of the area. Like she said, in the past 25 years or 20 years that she said she hasn't been there, her sister's been living in the town. She grew up there. She's seen a lot of things change, a lot of probably new developments there. So there's a lot of things, that we can still learn about this situation. But I would say overall, for the first time conversation, I wouldn't say that was that bad. I mean, she was willing to give information. I wouldn't really say they're super desperate, but at the same time, they're on a time crunch, because if you think about it in this light that I'm about to say, they got the house inherited from their dad, and they grew up there, but it's not like they owe any money besides property taxes, which are probably, I would assume, are in some type of escrow account or something. So there's not really like a whole bunch of pressure for them to sell it, right now at this point. But at the same time, I would assume, just from prior knowledge, that the city is not just going to keep giving them leniency and, every 30 days. They're not going to let that 30 days push out to be, 6 years from now. They're going to want something sooner or later. But the fact that they are staying in contact with the city and, whatever official they were talking to, I definitely think that's something that's going to help out a lot. So, like I said, it is good to have someone on her side that's not, just looking to tear it down, push some bulldozer on it, and like she said, turn it into a parking lot. Because here in Indianapolis, it's a little bit different, and since it's close to the city, this Elwood is like a small town, and they have a small community of people. Indianapolis is massive, and there are a lot of other houses, that are going through this on a daily basis. But at that same time, like, they would rather keep the aesthetic of the neighborhood, and a lot of these places are going through rehabs and reviving it, gentrification. So at the end of the day, like she said, there's neighbors that are complaining. There might be some young family, at least in Indy, that moved in across the street, and they see some house and they see people going in and out of it, doing drugs, doing whatever. And, they don't want that stuff around their family. So here in Indy, there's a lot more people to complain on a daily basis, hourly basis about these properties, opposed to Elwood, because Elwood, I would say, is more of like there's more construction workers, there's more people that work outside, landscapers, lower income families, people like that live in these areas, and they don't really care about this type of stuff. And so even if they do care, it's like, the number one rule is, you don't go complain about your neighbor, because at some point it's probably going to come back to you. But if there's in Indianapolis, for example, if there's 15 different people complaining about the same property, they're never going to know who it is, because there's so many complaints about it. They're going to be getting called. The homeowner will be getting calls from the health department or the environmental specialist, whatever they call themselves. Like, they'll be getting calls all the time about it. So that's definitely something to think about. And I would say, even from the beginning, I didn't really want to bring up what her father had told me, just because I didn't want to. That's why I asked her about the price first and told her, like, look, I know what your father wanted, but I'm not sure what you guys are looking to get. And obviously her dad is the one that was probably trying to prepare. Like I said, I didn't really dig into it too deep because he didn't mention anything about it. So I had no clue or, slight incline to even ask about it. So I didn't know that he was going through health issues, but he knew that. And he was probably trying to plan for the future of his family and his whole family tree, and make sure that they're, set and ready to go. And her, at this point, Tamara, she's just looking to get out of it and doesn't want to worry about it. She lives 5 hours away. So it's kind of a different story, even though it's the same house. There's two different stories here. So overall, I'm actually kind of glad that she said she wanted to start at 10,000, because for background, her father was wanting 35 grand. So Robert wanted 35,000. The house was assessed for 19,000, and she's talking starting at 10,000 and seeing what would be the best from there. So obviously it's not going to be worth it to steal the place from her, but it's going to take a whole lot of money, probably close to $70,000 to $100,000 to get this thing, up to code and ready to go for someone if it was a flip. If it was a rental, I would say it's probably going to be closer to like 50 or 60. So not that much of a difference. And, it might be worth it to go the extra mile and, spend the extra 20,000 to make it completely, nice and new. And I did see, just looking at the street view that was taken in 2022, just last year, I did see that there was a couple houses kind of in the area that were going through renovations, or, someone had moved out and they're going through kind of fixing it up. So that's also a plus. And kind of the longer that, I wouldn't say it's not really good for me, because I spend a lot of time on this lead, but for him to waste more time and not answer me, and then that was already over 12 months ago, and now we're on month 15 talking to his daughter after he passed away. It kind of helped a little bit, because there's also more comps now that are up to date with the current interest rates. There's more houses that are being fixed. There's more houses that in the area that, are up to par with what people want these days, which is, more of like the modern look, the clean look, the granite and all that type of stuff. So seeing some of these other flippers and developers coming in and actually spending money there, it's kind of a good thing for us, because we're able to see, it's almost like proof of concept. We're able to see that people are spending and investing money in this area, whether it's short term or long term. There's money pouring into the town. So that's another good thing. And I'm sure there's a lot more than there was, 13 months ago. So overall, I think it was a good call, and we kind of got, a decent amount of information from her, and kind of updated statistics on the house, I would say. So I really do hope that you guys got some type of, information from that call, and kind of how it was navigated. And for me, I know sometimes throughout the call, like, she had said something, and my brain was going a different way, trying to ask about that specific point she just made, but she was just rambling on about, what was coming next. So there's probably a few things, I'll admit it. There's probably a couple times throughout the call that I might have missed some things, but that's why I like to record them. And I would say even your calls, if you're wholesaling or you're, bird dogging or whatever you're doing, if you're recording your calls, it's going to help out a lot, because you're able to go back and listen to them and kind of hear how you sound on the phone. Maybe like for myself, for example, I'll listen to a phone call, be like, oh man, I should have said this, or I should have gone that way or this way. So you can kind of see where, I guess, your weaknesses are. And then also on top of that, you might catch something that they said that you missed, because you were, your brain was, working at full power trying to think of, I guess, where to go next with the conversation. So I would say overall, watch the video multiple times. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. Like I said in the beginning, make sure you go out and you watch my other videos, my live streams. I have hours and hours of live calls and, kind of commentary like this, of going over the phone calls. So definitely do that. And even in my YouTube bio, I have my email, my phone number, all my social medias. So definitely reach out to me if you have any questions. And I've had in the past couple of months, I've had a few people like reach out to me like, hey, when are you doing some more real estate stuff on your YouTube, stuff like that. And it's kind of grown to be a relationship where I'm able to kind of help some of these gentlemen or ladies, I guess, move forward and be able to get them started in wholesaling, which I wouldn't say wholesaling is for everyone, but if you have, some type of knowledge of your area, you're going to be fine. And as long as you're also ethical, because recently there's been a lot of people that are unethical, and the mayor here in the city has been cracking down on it, and they actually started a whole new kind of a real estate transaction department where they're hounding down on people that are tying up these properties. And they're, everyone sees on YouTube, oh, I'm going to wholesale real estate and make $50,000 or whatever it is, when that's not really the case. And it takes a lot more work and a lot more due diligence, and it takes a lot more, studying than what it is just to call someone and, tie up the house in one phone call. Like this lady, we've been talking for 2 weeks, and her husband or her dad, I've been talking to for almost over a year. And so, this is a long process of what it takes to get all the information. And most times people don't give you all the information. But for her, this just fell in her lap. So she has no reason to bullshit. She has no reason to lie about anything because, like she said, she wants to get rid of it sooner than later. So, that's always something to think about too. Like if it is a probate type of property, I would say the people that inherit it are going to have a little bit more information. They're going to be more straight to the point than, someone that owned it for, like she said, 50 years and raised a family there. So that's always something to keep in mind as well. But I do have to get going. I got to take a shower. I got to get ready for this other meeting. So if you guys do have any questions, definitely reach out to me on my Instagram or my email. You can text me, do whatever you want, and I'll be, reach out as soon as I can. So other than that, I hope you guys have a good afternoon, and let's get some deals done. And if you have anything else, just let me know, and I'm here to help. I mean, that's why I started this channel, was to help people and kind of give them an upfront idea of actually wholesaling. It's not just, sunshine and rainbows about, oh, you make one phone call, you get the contract, and then you make another phone call and it's ready to go. Like it takes a lot more work than that. And there's a lot more things you have to do in between those to make a deal actually happen. Because like she said, the first deal she had fell apart, and that's not uncommon. That happens a lot. So I'm not saying I'm the best. Like, we've had deals canceled and we've had things fall apart as well. And I'm sure every other person in real estate has had a deal fall apart at some point. And, it's just part of the process. So if you guys have anything, definitely let me know. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great afternoon.